Coming up, are you a good listener? Do your customers agree? Also, do those customers think of you like Rice Krispies? And we'll answer your questions in Love It or Shove It. Buckle up, Pain-Free Mondays starts right now. Hi, I'm Ken Okel. Welcome to Pain-Free Mondays. So let's talk about listening. Very few of us are really good listeners. And let's face it, we have more distractions nowadays than ever before. Things are beeping or going off, or we have so much information coming in, it's hard just to focus on one person at one time. And listening really isn't taught in the schools. You have to kind of pick it up as you go. Most of the time when we're trying to listen to someone, we're preparing to say what we want to say. We're kind of like, hey, shh, shh. Let me get to my stuff. It's much better than yours. Now, that's not a good way to build business relationships with other people or personal relationships. Let's talk about listening some in terms of things that you can do. Now, the most obvious thing is when you're talking to someone, you totally focus on that person. You are just zoned in. I mean, unless there's a fire going off, you're focused on the other person and what they're saying. Another good tip is to really try to listen to what they're saying and then refer to their comments in your remarks. Now, often a conversation is basically someone waiting for someone else to stop talking so they can say what they want to say. It's better if you can kind of piggyback on what they said, even if you segue into another topic. So try that. And a great thing I try to do with listening in terms of a visual is to think of the gift of listening. Let me explain this phrase to you. When you get a present, or especially when you give a present, let's say for a niece or a nephew, you don't just give them the box and then say goodbye. No, you want to see them get that present and experience opening it. So you see them opening the paper and opening the box, and you want to get that great shot of them when they see it and they're just like, ooh, you like that. That's stuff you like. Can you do the same thing with someone you're listening to? Give the gift of listening, where you're treating them like that experience where you're giving someone a present, where you're focused on them. Trust me, this will make such a difference because people start to think, this person likes what I'm saying, they're paying attention to me, I might want to do business with them. Give it a shot, try it out for a month. Notice any differences. I am betting that people will start to say, that guy's a good listener. I like him. Coming up, we are going to talk some about Rice Krispies. How is cereal related to how your customers may be seeing you? Well, find out when we come back. The 2-Minute Takeaway Podcast, out new every Wednesday. Never miss an episode by subscribing through iTunes. Do your customers think you're Rice Krispies? Let's start this off with a little story. I have a friend who had to bring a homemade dessert to an office potluck, and the dessert police were out, so there was no opportunity for her to buy something at the store, put it in some Tupperware, and then pass it off as her own. She had to bake. She wasn't sure how to do it, so she contacted me. I thought of the simplest thing that I could, which was Rice Krispie treats. You know, they're very simple. Basically, you have butter or margarine, the cereal, and then marshmallows. You heat it all up, you cool it, slice it, serve. Easy. What I didn't know were the measurements for the ingredients. So I went to the Kellogg's website, because after all, Kellogg's makes Rice Krispies. Sure enough, they have a whole section on Rice Krispie treats. This looks good. Now, one thing I thought of when I was talking to my friend, there are lots of companies that make crispy rice cereal. It's not just Kellogg's. Very often you have a store brand that is significantly less than Kellogg's. So I was thinking, gee, is there a difference between Kellogg's and everybody else? Because sometimes there is. So I saw on the website a section called Why You Should Use Kellogg's Rice Krispies. So I thought, this is going to be great. Let me read this reason that's going to make me go to the store and pick up their box versus anyone else's. Here's what it said. Well, basically it was 2 sentences. And it mentioned how Rice Krispies treats have been bringing families together in the kitchen for 80 years, and that by getting their cereal versus the other guys, you could experience the timeless flavor. Well, let's think about that. Does 80 years of making something make it better than the competition? No, neither does timeless flavor. It sounds like the ingredients are pretty much exactly alike. So in this case, I told my friend, get the store version, save a buck or two. Let's bring this story back to you. Do your customers think that you are Rice Krispies, where one of the main ingredients, that would be you, can be easily exchanged with someone else? That's a danger. You know, sometimes people stumble into business where they have customers for a long period of time and then they suddenly lose them. Why? Because there really isn't anything that separates them from everyone else. So make sure that you can articulate to your customers why you're different, why they should go with you, even if your price is a little higher. Make sure that message is there. Don't just assume that they will use you because they've used you in the past. Kellogg's loses a lot of business every year to the knockoff brands, but let's face it, they're not giving you a good reason why you shouldn't use them. Coming up, we're going to answer some of your business questions in our segment, Love It or Shove It.
Who says a little whining isn't good for you? We crown the Whiner of the Week every Thursday.
Did you know that most problems can be addressed with a very simple phrase? That phrase is love it or shove it. Here's what I'm talking about. Very often, we kind of stay in a neutral state where we don't necessarily like where we are in business or in our personal lives, but we're not necessarily wanting to do anything to make things better. In these cases, I've come up with two responses. You either love it, which means staying where you are, or shove it, which means making changes immediately to improve your situation. You don't just stay where you are. That's not allowed. So, what I do is I ask people to send in their questions for this segment. Let's get to one of them. I've become one of those people who hates their job. Right now, it's very stressful and I don't see any type of advancement available to me in the future. What do you suggest? Okay, Lauren, this is a great question. Thank you for sending it in. Let's think about this some. I want you to consider your job, the position you have, the salary you receive, your commute, the benefits like healthcare. Add all that stuff up and see if you can come up with it elsewhere, that whole package. If you can, okay, we'll start to think about that. If you can't, well, this may be a situation where you have to love it and it may be more like a grin it and bear it. But if you're thinking, no, I can do the same salary somewhere else, get the same benefits, and have a shorter or better commute, let's talk about taking that next step. First thing I want you to do you have an updated resume? So many of us wait until we're in panic mode to do this. So one of those nights where you come home from work burned out, I want you to open up a file on your computer, start working on your resume, start putting in that information. It gives you a sense of power over your situation. You are taking action rather than letting yourself be a victim. If you're looking to make a lateral move, well, that's relatively easy. You get a little bit of training when you start a new job, you're ready to go. Everything's pretty much the same. If you're looking to make a career change, try doing a little bit of networking with people. See if you can find out more about the profession, learn some of the buzzwords, some of the issues. Yes, it's extra work, but don't you want to be as educated as possible so that you save time, not having to spend it on 50 gazillion job interviews where most of the time you don't look like a good candidate? Learn the lingo, know the issues. That'll help you if you get into the interview situation. I also want you to think about your skill set. Are you lacking something that you might need at the next level? I've known some people who say, you know, I don't know how to use PowerPoint or Microsoft Excel, and that's usually required. Okay, that is an easy fix. That's something that you can work on through online courses or go to some sort of adult education class or community college. Very easy to take those classes. The one thing you have to do, take that first step. You have to go there, enroll in the class. Remember, this is all about love it or shove it. You are no longer allowed to stay in a job that you really don't like, that might be making you sick, and do nothing about it. If you want to say shove it, you have to take steps right away to go to a brighter future. Now, this does not happen overnight. It takes time to work on your resume. It takes time to take classes, and it takes time to network. So this is not going to be an instant fix, but it's better than staying where you are and doing nothing. Do you have a question you'd like to have us discuss on Love It or Shove It? If you do, email me at tvguy@kenokel.com. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.